Hello, hello. All right, so here is your past life spread. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at where you were, what you did with the majority of your time there, an important day with relationships and feelings involved, another important day, relationships and feelings, the death over here, and the lesson learned, and we'll get hints of time throughout, okay? So all I'm going to do is relay to you images and impressions that are coming through, and your job is going to be to try to make connections where you can based off of what comes through here and your current life, and I'll try to help however I can, okay? There's a couple of ways you can be making connections. There's direct and opposite. Direct connections is if you can directly connect or resonate with what's coming through. An opposite kind of connection is when, like, our souls like to experience very different things, right? So, for example, let's say someone drowns in a past life, they may come back and be very afraid of water, or even fearful of drowning, or not want to get near that particular body of water that they drowned in, and they might not know why, but it's a connection in that way. So just keep your mind open to the kinds of connections you can make, but you don't want to force anything, okay? So whatever you might not connect with, you just want to tuck in the back of your mind for a later time, because things might connect or click later on in the days, weeks, months, even year following kind of thing. So let's see, you might want to grab a notebook and pen because a lot tends to come out, and we're going to go ahead and start. Now, a lot of stuff comes through, I'm shuffling, so what was interesting was a couple of things was something with crow's feet. So it's not even like really it could be a crow, like the symbolism of a crow might connect with you in some way, but it was particularly like crow's feet, like the feet prong, and it felt heavily having to do with symbolism or usage in the way of like almost like honestly, like, it's the feeling of like the paganism-y kind of witchcrafty kind of thing. And the thing is, as I'm laying this out, what's coming through is interesting because believe it or not, I can't remember, I haven't gotten like a witch kind of thing, like a witch as we know it from like almost like I want to say Halloween, Salem witch trials, like how the witches that, you know, were like told like witchcraft, like spells, and but in particular like using objects and things in like cauldrons kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't practice that kind of stuff, but I know a lot of people that do, and so take it with a grain of salt if you're not a practitioner or you're not into that kind of thing, or that's not your belief system. Just take it with a grain of salt, because that's what is coming through. And again, I haven't had this come through, so it's kind of interesting to me. But yeah, so where we're going though, this is the Americas card, and as soon as I laid this out, it was because I was feeling it in the shuffling, and then when I laid this out, it was like confirmation for me. And it felt very much like we're being brought to like a New England kind of thing. So I kind of want to just say it's the feeling of when you think of the Salem witch trials, but this doesn't necessarily mean we're looking at like Salem. This could be other areas because I don't know the whole history of it, but I do feel like we are going to be looking at an aspect of you that is practicing witchcraft, even like the feeling of being part of a group, or was a coven that meets up kind of thing. And it's not bad. It's not like, this is not like black magic, you know, this is like just witchcraft, like practicing natural remedies and utilizing the energy of nature and, you know, like that kind of thing. Hold on. So yeah, so I just want to wrap that up by saying I'm not going to say, okay, this is Salem, you know, because again, it could be a town over, it could be a city over, or it could be Salem. It just has that feeling about it, okay? So it's very like, basically I would say like, if you really love Halloween, that would make a lot of sense. Like that would be a connection. So how you might connect with this would be, for example, a direct connection would be if you've ever felt pulled to paganism, Wicca, witchcraft, spells, potions, alchemy, those kinds of things. Also, if you've been pulled to symbolism, and I want to say in particular, herbs are coming up, but almost like they're not showing me herbs, they're showing me like herbs in a book, which I feel like this book I'm looking at that I'm being shown is your book. like you have a book where you've like pressed herbs, like dried them out almost and drawn them, and it's like a book, almost like a sacred book. So how you might connect with that even, because like everything they show me is for a reason. So it could be that if you're someone that loves keeping a journal, you not just a typical journal, maybe like even like the kind where like a scrapbooky kind of thing, where you like to keep objects and press it into a page, or that kind of thing, collage-y stuff, just that. So if you like to keep things like that, or even just a journal, it could be as simple as that. It could just be that you like collecting notebooks for various things. It could be that this could be the kind of thing where if you've ever thought about learning the art of book making, I know that's kind of random, but that might actually be a connection there. And if not, I almost want to say, like, if you haven't thought about that and you're like, I'm bored, I want a new hobby, what should I try? I would honestly say go try looking into how to, like, literally how to make books, like how to not like write a book, but like construct books, bookbinding, thank you. So there's that, but then also you might want to look into pressing, like a hobby of like pressing flowers or whatever. And this could also be the kind of thing where even if you're like not bored or not wanting a hobby, these could be things coming up that you might find if you do them, they might be almost therapeutic in a way, in case you're someone that needs to take time away and take you time and do something that is just, I want to say like a breathing space that might be just the idea of like an easy, interesting task that you can focus on and be present with, that gets your mind off of the world, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. You might want to look into those things because they're coming up vividly for some reason. But they're showing me that, and then they're showing me symbolism we were talking about in the way of things like, again, the crow's feet, almost like I want to say it's like you might have like this aspect of you, feels feminine, by the way, a female, and it's like she has it's like her stash, and she has like crow's feet, and then like a jar of like teeth, and then like a jar of like eggshells, and a jar like these like and then like a jar of like something like peels, like lemon peels or peels of a something. So how this might even connect, and bear with me, I'm just like giving you what's coming through. How this might connect with you also could be if you are someone that likes to organize and compartmentalize things, keep things together but separate, if that makes sense. Like, or if you like jars or boxes, like collecting those kinds of things and keeping things in that. This could also be like how it's lined up, quite frankly. There's something about like these dried rose buds and dried lemon peels. It almost reminds me of that thing, you know that thing where potpourri, it's like potpourri. So if you've ever had a pull towards potpourri or making your own potpourri, whether it's the design or the scent, that kind of thing, it could be like they might be showing me these things in particular because you might be able to connect in some way that that I don't, kind of thing, where it's like lemon peel or like a citrusy peel, like if your favorite kind of scent is citrus, like that kind of thing. This could be the kind of thing too where like an opposite connection would be if you in your current life chose to be born into a family that is, I want to say, either completely like dogmatic, like religious kind of thing, or completely neutral and like agnostic, where there's no belief, because that would be the opposite of this. And it's almost like the idea of you dabbling in this kind of stuff as a way to, it's like a way to help you cut ties with anything from your past in your current life that you feel does not fit with who you are anymore. It's almost like taking a step in this direction. Like, I'm not saying, oh, go practice witchcraft. I'm not like saying that. I'm saying like, if you take a step towards playing with ideas that are like, I want to say, there's something about this that is aligned with inner child stuff, because it's nature based, and it's also about how it makes you feel, like this aspect of you. that's very, like, it's not innocent, but it's pure. There's something about it that's so pure, like putting spells together or potions together. Like, there's something very childlike about that, even though there's profound meaning behind it. There's something about, it's like when we're kids, we don't question certain things we want to do, we just do them. And I feel like that is coming up in this way for you, almost like if you are someone where you second guess yourself or you doubt yourself, even after you're like, I really want to do this, but then you might hesitate and think of things like, well, you know, like maybe I'm not qualified for this, or maybe this isn't what I thought it would be, or maybe I don't know what I'm thinking, or like that kind of thing. If you do that at all, if you connect with that at all, then this would be a message for you that you need to like get past that boundary. And the boundary that's there, that's from programming. That's not you telling you that. That's a voice of, like, we'll say like, oh, the patriarchy or whatever you want to call it. Like, well, it's the voice of society or whatever. That's not your voice. So if you are pulled towards something, you need to go in that direction. And I feel like this is being brought up because there's something very like innocent and pure about being drawn to certain objects that are pretty or interesting and then putting them together like as a protection on jewelry or a potion for whatever, you know what I mean? Like, there's something about it that is fun and innocent about it, even though there is profound meaning behind it or intention behind it, if that makes sense. Now, that can also be coming up in that way, just in the case that you're in a place where you need to be almost like I want to say you would know this, that if you are someone that needs to start incorporating more pleasure and fun in your whatever it is that you do for your day, whether it's a career or just like however you spend your day, to start like threading in more fun. And I want to say it has to do with this whole like childlike thing where it's about not doubting yourself but just having the idea and then closing in on it. So just in case you have any issues or problems or hesitancy when it comes to having an idea and then stepping towards it to close in on the idea, you know, like we were just talking about, then that's the message for you, is like, be aware of when it's happening and then remember this and close in on the idea. Just go for it. And it's okay if it's not perfect. Just in case you might consider yourself to be somewhat of a perfectionist or need a certain outcome kind of thing, be aware of that. And if you're not aware of that, this would just be like, hey, check in with yourself, okay? Just to make sure that you're not being like that with certain things, because it's almost like get rid of the idea of perfectionism, because that takes out the fun, if that makes sense. Like the kind of fun, the kind of childlike quality fun that I feel it's almost like wants to be infused. And I say infused because, again, like this whole notion of alchemy, potions, like this is fun for her, this aspect. So, yeah, so we'll do that. Oh, and then another thing you might want to connect with is the whole, like, I mean, if you've ever been interested even in the Salem witch trial thing, like that whole, like, you know, or I think I mentioned Halloween too. If you're drawn to Halloween, drawn to, this is, again, this feels like a New Englandy kind of thing. Again, I can't specify or pinpoint it, but if you've ever been drawn there, if you've ever been drawn to, like, even going and seeing if there's, like famous places, this is where the witches were hung. Like, you know what I mean? Like a touristy almost, I want to say, but, like, real, where they actually, like, knew, hey, this is where this witch lived and prosecuted at this courthouse, or, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of, if you were ever drawn to go, like, visit the old sites of that kind of era, that would be a connection, definitely. And if not, again, that's totally fine. As you can see, this isn't just about, you know, whether or not you want to be a witch or not. This is not what this is about. There's some deeper meaning in here. The symbolism can also be coming up, by the way. In the case that you've been asking, let's say you've been asking your guides, hey, give me a sign, like that kind of thing. Or just asking the universe or God or whatever it is you believe in to give you a sign. These things might be coming up as your symbols to help you. Almost like I want to say, if you see a crow or crow's feet or bird feet, if you see lemon peel, if you see, what else was it? It was like little tiny rosebuds like this, and they were closed and they were pink, little pink closure. Like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Understand that you can create the symbol for the universe to send you that symbol as a sign that you're in the right direction. You can do that yourself. So it's like, instead of just being like, okay, send me a sign, and then you're looking around and you're like, I don't even really know what I'm looking for, you know, like that kind of thing. I mean, we see numbers a lot. A lot of people see, you know, 11, 11, 3, 3. Those are awesome signs. Awesome. But you can get more specific, and you could be like, send me a crow. And then you have to like let it go, and then you'll notice something having to do with crow. It doesn't have to be the crow the bird. It could be crow, like you see the word crow. It could be that you see a sticker with like an artist rendering of what looks like a crow, right? Or you can even see like a crow bar, and that's a crow. So it's different ways of taking symbols. So it could very well be that that's even coming through like that, to let you know that you might be being sent what you've been asking for, like signs and symbols, but you might not have connected the dots because you might be looking specifically for something in a specific way to come to you a specific way and look a certain way, but it actually might be coming in various ways, but it means the same thing. So just keep your eyes open when it comes to that kind of thing, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go to, we did this card, we're gonna go to this card. This is what you do with the majority of your time, which I'm already explaining, but this is actually the Take Care of Me card. And so with the Take Care of Me card, what it means here with the kind of life we're describing, this is what you did. You took care of people on the down low. So we're looking at like a secretive exchange, because you're the person that has remedies. You're the alchemist. I think different kind of practitioners, we'll say witches, practitioners, whatever you want to call them. I think they all had their like specialties. And something about this is just, there's something where you are mixing stuff. Your thing is about mixing. So that's why I keep saying the word alchemy, potion, alchemy. Now how this might translate into like today's timeline, like your current life, could be if you like mixing things like it, I mean, sure, like, yeah, okay, you could say like food, like smoothies, but it's not like that. I would say more like if you like creating your own makeup, or creating your own skincare, or creating your own whatever it is where you apply it to yourself in some way, that would be a connection. And if not, that's fine, but that's the kind of thing where it's like mixing stuff, but you're helping people. So the Take Care of Me too, because this is often about having to do with being helpless. So I feel like people come to you when they're on their last leg. Like they have to go through the, what's it called? They have to go through the usual like route of things. Like basically they have to call in the doctor that everyone approves of, right, during this time, because it feels like this timeline, whatever that the burning the witches timeline is, I don't know if that was the 1700s or 18, but or 16, I don't know, but it's going to be that timeline. That's the feel of this. It was whenever that was happening, that's the time. So if you were ever drawn to that timeline in history, like that period of history too, that'd be a connection. But so they would have to go through the usual route, like the mainstream route, right? They'd have to hire the doctor and get it looked at by the doctor that's approved by, you know, that's a normal kind of medical care at the time. And then when that didn't work, they came to you. So it's almost like you knew they would be on their way. Like once you heard the doctor got called for someone, you knew to expect them, because it's almost like they called the doctor to throw people off. You know what I mean? Like to be like, no, I'm normal. I'm getting help from the doctor. That's all. The doctor is helping me. So when they come to you and you help them and cure them and heal them, they'd still say, oh, it's the doctor. It's the doctor. And then we find, you know, that doctors back then had some weird practices that didn't really help. And it feels like we're kind of getting through this, like an answer why, because they would claim that it helped them when really it was people like you, the witches, practitioners, healers, whatever, that would actually do the healing part, but never got the credit. So this could be that you in your current life, if you are a stickler for getting credit, almost like it would be a pet peeve, like not pet peeve, like it would really bother you if you're not given your due. If you are not given credit where you're owed, if that really gets under your skin, it would come from here. even though it doesn't feel like it bothers her much because it's just the way of things, but that's how it was. So, I mean, because it didn't bother her that much, it could also be the other connection where you take it gracefully. And if that's the case, then here's the thing. If you find that credit is not being given to you, and it should, it may very well be that that's coming up in your current life again for you to actually speak up and claim it. Because here, you had to stay silent and you couldn't claim your credit. So yes, this can also be how you feel about healthcare or medical care, mainstream versus holistic or alternative. If you find that you'll, like even you, like say if you, one, go to the mainstream, medicine or whatever, and then when that doesn't work, then you start dabbling in herbs and supplements and things like that. Or it could be that you're just like, I don't even care about this medical, like the mainstream medical stuff. I'm going straight to the herbs and tonics, like that kind of thing. So however you might connect with where you feel drawn to go when it comes to helping yourself or the health of yourself, or even like your loved ones, where you might point them. Like if you're that person that's like, rosemary oil is really good for that, like that kind of thing. If that's you, if you're like pointing people to essential oils and herbs and things like that, or even diet, just the more holistic approach, that would be a direct connection to this. Okay, and let me tell you, once a healer, always a healer. So you are a healer in this life, whether or not you know it. It's in you. It's in your essence. Because once you're there, it doesn't go away. Just in case you're wondering, in case you're wondering, like, do I have gifts? Can I use energy? Can I learn to heal? Yes, of course. And if you don't already know, yes, of course. So don't doubt it. We were talking earlier about doubt and going after something. If you're even considering taking a class in energy working of any kind, whether it's like Reiki or theta healing or whatever it might be, and then you're like, well, I don't know. No, just do it. You will excel. Okay. Just in case you haven't yet, that kind of thing. But yes, so this can also mean, though, one last thing about this before we go to the first important day, this can also mean that you might feel obligated to take care of people or help people. And if that's the case, it would mean that in your current life, while it's great to be there for the ones you love, you are here then, if you connect with that, then you're here to learn to first fill your bucket up first before helping others. Like, help yourself before you help others. Like, put the oxygen mask on you before you help others. That kind of thing. I know that could sound selfish, but it's not so much about whether it's selfish or not. It's about the lesson you're meant to learn from always helping others here and not getting help in return. I mean, they would pay you, but again, it's like almost like the lack of credit, and then how they would talk about you behind your back or treat you and others like you in order to save face. That kind of thing. That's what you have to endure in this life. So in your current life, it's supposed to be about self-love now and taking care of yourself. It doesn't mean don't help people if you want to help them, but it certainly doesn't mean it. What it does mean is you're not responsible for it. If that makes sense. So anyway, let's go ahead and move to the first important day. So this is the move, let's go card. So this is when people are fleeing or leaving an area. This is the karmic card. The karmic card we see when it can be karmic with a person, a group, or even the land, or you made a karmic pact even with your own soul. So we're going to see what that is. And then the feelings is quite capable and incapable. So this looks like we are seeing you being run out. Yeah. It looks like you have to go on the move. And I feel like you got fed up when you realized what was happening. Because I feel like you got tipped off by someone that you had cared for, that you had healed before. Like, I feel like you healed someone of something that otherwise really just would have killed them. And I feel like it was a woman, and that the woman had kids, and that you made it so she could stay alive and be with her kids. There's something about like where she felt like she owed you so much that I feel like she warned you. So they're showing me just you like grabbing what supplies you can and going out, but not before. There's something about you sending intentional, you sent an intent out to the people who came after you. And the intent, it was almost like, I want to say, like, this is not about cursing them. This is like you sent an intent that in another life, you owe me. Okay? So I'm having goosebumps right now because it's very interesting, because I feel like you are going to be seeing people throughout your life. If you haven't already, then you are going to start after this reading, but it's likely you've already come across this, where people will show up for you when you need them out of the blue, or it's almost like people that maybe you've met once or twice, and then they'll show up for you in a way that people would show up for people if they knew them as since childhood. That kind of thing. Like almost like the kind of thing where it's like you might have met someone you work with, or you might have like met someone somewhere once, and then you needed help moving, and they would come and offer the truck and help you move, and like that kind of thing after just, so it's like that kind of thing. If you've come across these instances in your life, these people are people that were here that came after you. And the only reason, I feel like the reason they came after you was because if they didn't, they would be seen as helping you. So they had two choices, and it's either like get in trouble with the law or the government and whatever it was back then, or go after you and they'll be safe because they'd be proving that they weren't on your side. Like that kind of thing, like that BS, But yeah, so you cast an intention over them, over these, and it's not just you though, it's also their soul too. Like they made the pact as well. Like they knew that they would owe you based on the decisions they made in this life, that they would have to come back and owe you. And I feel like the way you're going to see this is through favors in your current life. People popping up with favors. So I feel like I want to say, if you haven't seen this yet, your job is going to be to start to put it out there and ask for help. And just like put it out, like just, I feel like if you, especially, and like, if you haven't seen this yet, I want to say it's likely that you might be someone that takes care of your own problems, or you help yourself, or you are used to helping yourself, and maybe you don't ask for help, at least not like putting it out there. Maybe you ask someone very close to you that you trust, whatever. But if that's the case, I would say to start asking publicly or like generally for help, put it out there in a way you might not be used to, and you'll see the people that pop up for you, those people are these people, and they're coming back because they owe you a favor. Okay, so just that'd be very interesting to know about, honestly. Like that's curious to me because I've never had anything like that pop up. That's cool. Anyway, so connect however you can with that, but that's the karma being played. It's not you owing karma, it's you're being owed karma. Like people have karma, like they owe you kind of thing. So that's interesting. Quite capable, incapable, this is the feeling of the moment where you're like, am I going to get out of here? Like, I got to go kind of thing. But you were so set on doing this last kind of incantation, if you will. Which, by the way, if you happen to know about yourself that you are a manifester, like a natural manifester, like, like you might not have to do all the, use all the tools that people out there are saying, oh, write this list and do that and blah, blah, blah. If you find yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, if you do, like, nothing wrong with that. But if you find that you are a natural, like, manifester in the sense where you literally can just, like, manipulate your mind and thoughts and, like, put it out there, like, a desire for something or a knowing, and find yourself getting that manifestation, that would also stem from here. And if not, that's fine. But that, I feel like, would be linked to this kind of feeling here. So the capable and capable card is, it could be one or the other or both. This is quite capable. So you are quite capable. I almost want to say again, the word doubt's coming up. Do not doubt. I know it's easier said than done. Oh, okay, she said don't doubt. I might as well not doubt. I know. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to doubt yourself. And when you do doubt yourself, if you find any doubt in there, because it's easy to, like, look around and see the evidence around us that's showing us what we don't have when we want something. You know what I mean? This would be for you to stop looking at the evidence that shows you anything different than what it is you desire, and just to focus on the present moment as much as you can, because in the present moment is where our manifestations come to life. So be present as much as you can, and when you find yourself in any moments of doubt in your mind, all you have to do is be aware that you're doubting, and you separate from it. Like, you've probably heard of the art of non-attachment or detaching. It's not detaching like, ooh, I'm cold, I'm not feeling at all. It's detaching from thoughts like that. Like, oh, there's the doubt. I see the doubt. There's that doubt thought. Okay. And as soon as you're saying, oh, I see that thought of doubt, all of a sudden, it's not part of you anymore. You're observing it. You're not attaching to it. That's where the detachment comes from. So just in case that could be very helpful for you, I feel like it might be very helpful for you just to be aware of your thoughts. And then when you're aware of it and you're pointing them out, that means you're observing them and you're no longer attached, right? So that's how you get out of the frequency of certain thoughts that are lower, like doubt, frustration, anger, blah, that kind of thing. Yeah, so just keep making connections here where you can, and we're going to go ahead to the next important day. So here we have the graduation card, the soulmate card, and this is kind of like nostalgia, kind of sometimes lonely card. Graduation card is not always academic. Graduation, oftentimes, more than not actually, is more like leveling up, right? Graduating emotionally, mentally, even physically, spiritually. And the soulmate card is not always romantic. It is when we are, honestly, we have a lot of soulmates, because soulmates are simply souls that we meet to learn lessons from. So soulmates also are not our best friends all the time. Sometimes they're meanies, because we learn lessons from mean people too. So it's really, so it's the souls we have contracts with. At least that's what this card is for. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, hold on. There's something about, there's like a much older woman, and it's almost like I want to say again how we were talking about symbols before. We were talking about like symbols, but now we're getting to like this weird archetype thing with a crone. I don't know if you've ever, I don't know, the word crone, if that means anything to you, or if you want to look up crone as far as an archetype. But this is showing me, at first I felt it was like some older woman that you ran into, or like that you found like another healer, but I want to say the soulmate. Yeah, now I'm getting goosebumps, so I know I'm on track here. Okay, so this soulmate is you. This soulmate is your most powerful version that you could step into in this life that we're looking at, given the circumstances and limitations of the times. And it feels like your graduation, what we're seeing is you fleeing, and you have found a homestead again somewhere. And they're showing me you, older, wiser, grounded, very like stable. There's something about this person here that moves very like evenly, the word grounded, it's grounded. It's like, how do I say this? Like the weight of years of experience and wisdom and life makes you, this you here, move in a way where it's like if anyone were to see you or approach you, they can feel your energy, and the energy is like profound. So what this is really saying is that you have all of the wisdom and experience and energy and everything, power, everything you feel like you might need, or what I want to say in your current life, feel like you would want to grow to, or want to, what's it called? The version of you that you feel like you want to embody ultimately in this life was executed, was reached, was fulfilled. So how do I say this? So I'm trying to like translate it properly. So I want to say in your current life, you are under an illusion that you are not fully embodied in your best version because of, I want to say, evidence around you or thoughts you may have based on your current life, experiences you've had in your current life that may make you feel like you haven't reached that version yet. And that's very normal. But that version, I want to say, your most fulfilled, embodied version of you is like, I want to say, right there. It's right there. And it's like, based on what we're talking about here, everything we're talking about, I want to say if you are able to mentally maneuver through what we were talking about, like with the doubt and the moving towards where you're pulled and like that kind of thing, I want to say it's the kind of thing where you'll look back and realize, oh, I'm there already. If that makes sense. So again, like the word illusion comes through, I feel like, because I want to say that if anyone is, and I don't mean this in like, there's no judgment here, but like if anyone is blocking you in any way, it would just be you. And it's like no one's fault. It's not your fault or anything like that. It's just, you might put blocks up that are illusions because of things you might tell yourself that might trigger some doubt, such as things like, you know, like let's say you're not a crone's age, right? You might be like, well, I'm too young to have the wisdom of a crone. I was like, no, you're not, but you can tell yourself that, and that's the illusion, right? Because you're comparing perhaps to other people who seem to you to be wiser and are maybe, you know, decades older, like that kind of thing. So with that said, I almost want to say, do yourself a favor in case you connect with this. In case you connect with this, do yourself a favor and try your best not to compare your journey with anyone else's or where you feel you're at with anyone else's, because you are not in anyone else's mind. And a lot of people are really good at putting an image of wisdom, an image of a guru, an image of power, and you know what I mean? Like that's a lot of people. I'm not saying everyone's doing that, but I'm saying a lot of people are good at it, so you really never know, which is why comparing to anyone else is literally an illusion. You're literally, anyone who does this is literally making it up. Comparisons are made up because you're only seeing the surface of someone else. You are not living in their head. You do not see their weaknesses. You do not see their doubts, their flaws, or what they consider to be their flaw. You know what I mean? Like everyone is human. So I want to say again, bring that focus to the present moment, because when you're in the present moment, your mind isn't wandering to other people. It's only on you, and that's the most important thing. Just like we were talking about earlier, it's important that you focus on you and filling your bucket up first before helping others, kind of thing. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And also I feel like there's something profound about the idea of you being your own soulmate. Something about loving yourself so much that you are your own soulmate. It doesn't mean you're not going to like have other people that are your soulmates too, but when it comes to what we were talking about before with filling that bucket up first for you, that is you prioritizing yourself as your soulmate, loving yourself first. That's important. Okay. And I want to say the nostalgia card is coming through here because there's something, it's not that this is not, so at her wisest, oldest, most fulfilled self here, I feel like she rarely dips into the past, is rarely nostalgic. And I'm not saying that's a weakness or a power, it's not this or that. It's just the idea that it's coming up because it's something that I feel like she doesn't indulge in. And I almost want to say, if you connect in the way where you find that you indulge in dwelling in past memories, whether good or bad, understand that when you're not present and dwelling in the past, the things you want take longer because you're not here in the present for them. You're in the past. And you're putting yourself in the vibration of the past. And it's not like you're going to stay there, of course, no. But, I mean, coming back, it's almost like you have to recalibrate, right? So, again, catch yourself when you're doing it so you do it less and less, or you're there for shorter durations of time. so you can come back to the present more, because the present is like your battery pack. It's what powers you up. That's where you want to be. So just keep that in mind. Keep making connections here where you can. And we're going to go ahead to the death card. And so this was, when I put this down, it was like picture kind of came full circle to the burn baby burn card. And the thing is I feel like this was going to be your fate. And you chose like something about it, like you had two paths, like you had two choices, and this was supposed to be one of your fates, and you decided not to, like your soul decided that. So I feel like there's something very powerful about you, because in fact, you know what, I want to say this might mean in your current life that you might have a very strong gift of being of prophecy, whether you dream stuff and it comes true, or whether you have an inclination that's like a feeling, like an omen, like maybe we shouldn't go here, we should take this road. Maybe you've canceled a flight before because you had a bad feeling. Whatever it is, if you connect in that way, that's where I feel like this comes from too, because you could have gone down the path, I feel like, of some of your sisters where they were burned at the stake and you got out because of this person, that this person did you a favor, and now all these people have to do you a favor. Don't forget that too. But yeah, so the burn card, this could have been your fate and it wasn't. And I feel like how you died, I feel like really was like a natural death. And I feel like it was probably like, this might be coming up too, as far as like, oh, it might have been the heat of the summer, a warm night kind of thing, but ultimately it really doesn't matter. What matters is that you avoided one of your fates. So this is not a final destination kind of thing. This is showing you that you do have free will, and every choice and decision you make puts you on a different path. And you can choose those paths based on the choices and decisions that you make. So that's where free will comes in. Where predestination comes in, or fate or destiny comes in, is that all the paths are already laid, but you choose, and there's millions of them, because you have so many choices you make on a daily basis even. So based on your choices and decisions, you decide which pathway you end up taking, that kind of thing. Okay? So yes, power of the mind. So keep making connections where you can here, and we're going to go to the lesson card. So this here is the trust card. So with the trust card, what this really is all about with the trust card is about trusting yourself. I know. It's very general and basic, but trusting yourself is actually something very hard for a lot of people. And I feel like it's tying into, again, what we were talking about. And, pardon me for repeating stuff, but talking about the doubt thing, like the hesitancy, not moving forward. Now, I know I've talked about that. The opposite would be if you are someone that doesn't doubt, you just take that step, you go after what you want, balls to the wall kind of thing, and that's fine. But just in the case that that's not the case, this trust card is showing how this aspect of you really trusted her purpose in life, even in the face of fear of death, fear of being discovered, having to be run out of her homeland, her home, period. It's almost like going into hiding. And then so what's interesting too about that, by the way, having to go into hiding, that can be translated into your current life if you are someone who is private, secretive, you don't like to share. It takes a while to warm up to you, like get people to warm up to you. It might take a long time for people to get in your inner circle, or your inner circle might be very small. And if you are unhappy with the people around you, I feel like it's because they do not share the same interests as you. But it also might be that you might not have fully discovered what interests really spark your spirit yet. And if you have, that's great. And if you have, that would just tell you that you need to surround yourself with people of the same interest, even if those interests are really weird. You know what I mean? Like, that's authentic living. So just try to surround yourself with people who get you. Yeah, but that's where the trust card comes in too. With people, if you are untrusting of people, obviously you can see why. The opposite would be if you came back into this life and you were very trusting, maybe even over trusting, that kind of thing. But usually it would be the other one. And then, let's see. Oh, and then where I want to finish with the trust card is here, where you trusted yourself enough that it eventually led you to become your most evolved, fulfilled self possible in this life, based on, what the times would let you be. But what's nice now, living in this timeline, is you have more freedom to practice whatever it is you wish to practice, and you can expand that. So I want to say you got as fulfilled as you could be here, but now you're back now with extra space to fill because of the freedoms that you have just based on where we are now in history, that kind of thing. So it just feels like you're filling yourself up with more wisdom, more experience, more, this, that, whatever awesome stuff here. But again, the last thing I want to say is the thing we mentioned was at the very beginning about that childlike kind of playful kind of thing. I want to kind of wrap it up by saying, like, bringing that in to make sure that you do thread fun and play into your life and into, let's say you do go into a certain kind of practice, modality, whatever it might be, that's holistic based. Make sure you are having fun and don't take it too seriously. Even though it is serious, don't let the seriousness of it weigh you down. Keep threading the play, the fun, the inner child, the like almost like the lightness of a child at play into the work of it, if that makes sense. And I feel like that will, I don't know, what do I want to say? It's like that will, there's a saying that's coming through and I can't even, that'll put the pin in it, or that'll put the something, button it up, or it's a saying basically like if you put that formula together, the seriousness with the thread of fun and play, what's that phrase? I'm so sorry. It's like that'll put a cap on it, but it's like, it's not like an end to it. It's like that'll cap it off, or that'll be like, that's like, it's like good. It feels like balanced, great, good, that kind of thing. Sorry, I can't think of that phrase. Sometimes things don't come through so smoothly. But yeah, so just keep making connections where you can with trust, but ultimately the trust card comes in about trusting yourself, and that you can trust yourself and you can trust your judgment. Yes. So anyway, all right, well, there's your past life. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're able to make some connections, and thanks for letting me read you.